And welcome everyone to Let's Play Disciples 2. We're just going to jump right into it. Go with the new saga. We can play as 4 different races. We've got the Empire, we've got the Undead Hordes, the Mountain Clans, and the Legions of the Damned. We're going to be playing as the Empire for now. We'll play as all of them eventually, I think. But we got to start somewhere, so let's just go with the Empire. And we've got Dark Prophecy or Guardians of the Light. Dark Prophecy is the original, and Guardians of the Light is an expansion, so we'll just go with Dark Prophecy. We've got a few options here. We can play as a Warrior Lord, which has 15% health regeneration for every unit per turn. Mage Lord, which can research spells at half price and cast spells twice per day. And Guildmaster, which lets your thief perform a lot more actions than any of the other lords, and cities cost half what they normally do to grow them. They're all pretty useful, but I'm going to stick with Warrior because I really like the health regeneration. You can choose your portrait just by clicking on it. They're all pretty cool looking, I guess, but we're going to go with him because he's, he looks like a good warrior. And our difficulty is just going to be average because, well, I'm an average gamer, so why not? Cutscene will start as soon as we hit this, so let's watch.
More than a decade has passed since the first great wars ended, when infernal beasts and demons poured forth from the ground. The human empire did their best to resist the unholy onslaught. Alas, the beloved queen was killed, and Uther, the sole heir, disappeared from the realm. The combined forces of the empire and mountain clans with the retrieved runic wisdom sealed the infernal rift before the accursed one could arise. The menace posed by the undead hordes came to an end with the beheading of the dwarven High King Sturmir. Mortis's vengeance accomplished, her minions fell lifelessly to the ground. Their languid voices echoed with no answer. Bards feared to weave tales of the suffering brought by the first great wars. Stories of these terrible events traveled only on witches' winds. Ten long years had passed since the first great wars, leaving Nevandar in a state of chaos and devastation. The Emperor Demosthene secluded himself in his stronghold, his spirits dimmed by the loss of his queen and their only son, the beloved Uther. Grand Councillor Hubert de Lely was rumored to be the true power behind the throne. Hubert had indeed taken advantage of the sorrowful king's growing isolation. Although he claimed Nevandar was in good health, all could see the plague of corruption and deprivation he had spread throughout the empire. Justice was no longer a luxury all could afford. Hubert led the empire to ruin, indulging in feasts and debauches, which he paid for with the empire's treasure. From this audacious decadence, numerous sects and agitators were born. Erhog, leader of a death cult, took over the barony of Emanir. If she was not stopped, her influence would surely grow. It would be the death knell for the empire and the High Father.
Okay, and here we go. We've got a little bit of income. We've got 150 gold, and we've got 25 life mana. Gold is useful for pretty much everything, and life mana will allow us to cast spells. We don't have any of the other kinds at the moment, but we may get some later. Our first leader shall be called George. You have arrived at last, my lord. Erhog the Dark and her evil sect control these lands. The few who dared speak against her have disappeared. Her temple is somewhere in the southeast. You must end this madness. Okay, not a problem. So Airhog, who we have to kill, is somewhere in the southeast. So we shall go looking for her. Here is our capital. It is called Tarn Fort. Our units in there gain 35 health regeneration per day, which is very nice. They also gain 50 armor. So they'll take half damage, which is also very nice. And this is George. He's a level 1 Pegasus Knight, 150 health, 50 damage to a single adjacent unit, initiative of 50, which is very average, and a leadership of 3. He can use artifacts, and he can fly. We're going to put him up here. We're going to give him a Squire to help. It's another melee unit, 25 damage, pretty good. We're going to give him this Apprentice as well, who does 15 damage to every unit, every enemy unit, which is nice. And here's an Acolyte who will heal 20 health per turn, which is also very nice. Having the health regeneration is very good to have. And we've also got another Squire who we can't put in our party because we can only have 3 other units. That's what his leadership is for. We could also hire units. We could give him an archer instead of one of the other units. But I think I want to keep my party like this for now. Having 2 melee fighters is handy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try something different this time around. I'm going to put the 2 Squires back in the capital and hire an archer and put him in the back row. So we've got 1 melee fighter, who is George, so he's pretty powerful, and then 3 units in the back. That should work pretty well. We've also got 3 restoration potions and 1 life potion. You can use these at any time outside of battle. You can also use them during battle if you put them in these battle item slots in your paper doll, which you access by hitting this button here. Your paper doll holds items that your hero can use. Right now, my hero can't use any banners, tomes, or boots. But he can use artifacts if we find any, and he can use battle items. Battle items are items that you can use during battle. So instead of attacking, he can use the turn to heal 100 hit points or revive a dead unit, which can be handy in some of the tougher fights. But unfortunately, only your hero can use those items, so if you lose your hero, you can't use one of the other units to revive him. So you have to try to keep him alive as much as possible. And we can also heal units and revive units in cities if we have a temple built, which we don't at the moment. We can dismiss units if we don't want them anymore. We want to clear up some space. We can also lock unit type, which will keep units from leveling up, or rather stop them from upgrading when they level, which can be useful in certain situations, but not so much for the Empire, I don't think. So we'll leave that button alone. We can also, have our leader exit the capital, which we will do. And there he is. He's flying, so he doesn't take any move penalty for moving over forest or water. Other unit types that don't fly would suffer a move penalty of 2 against normal terrain, 4 on forest, 6 on water, and actually only 1 on roads. But George, since he flies, takes up 2 move units no matter where he goes. So 1 single space will cost him 2 move units. So he's at 18 out of 20 now. So it's handy to have if you're on a map with a lot of water or forest. But if there's a lot of roads, non-flying units actually do very well. But it's not hugely important at the moment, so we'll just not worry about it. Back to the capital screen. This is what our capital looks like. This is Tarn Fort. We can research spells if we have a magic tower, which we don't at the moment. We can go back to the armor screen, where we can hire more units, create a new party, which will allow us to hire another hero. We can have another Pegasus Knight. We can have Ranger, who is a ranged unit, an Archmage, who can he can use orbs and staffs and scrolls, so that's kind of useful sometimes. He can use travel items, which is boots. So these are both useful in their own ways, but since we got a Pegasus Knight initially, I'm just going to stick with it. We also got the Archangel, who can plant rods and transform terrain, which I'll go over a bit more later. And she's a healing unit, but she's only got a leadership of 1, so she's not very good for a main party. A thief has no leadership, but can perform extra actions, can steal items, poison parties, he can rearrange the enemy troops. There's a lot of different options he can use, but most of it is locked unless you chose Guildmaster. For Warrior and Mage Lords, I think all he's left with against enemy parties is Poison and Duel, which will throw him into a duel with the party leader. Duel isn't very useful unless you have an enemy party with like say a ranger as the leader, or better yet, an archmage, because he can take down an archmage in one-on-one combat. But against, like a warrior, he wouldn't be very good. And Poison Party can be very useful, but it has limited use, really. It's helpful to whittle down an enemy party before your main party goes in. You can hire as many of these as you want, as long as you have the money for it. See, they cost 500 for each of the main ones to get set up, 300 for one of these, and 200 for a thief. But you can have as many as you want, and have them all over the map, if you feel like it. I'm going to be sticking with mostly one party, just so I can gain a lot of experience and level up as quickly as possible. I think it's preferable to have one very powerful party than a lot of sort of under-leveled ones. But I will have a few extras, maybe to defend key points or something. So going back, we can also have our leader exit from this screen, and we can build structures. This is very important. Structures are used to upgrade your units when they level up. So when a squire gets 80 experience, he will level up to either a knight or a witch hunter, depending on which building you built. You can only build one of these, and it locks out the other upgrade path when you do. But we can only build the first level of buildings at the moment, so our squires will only be able to level up once, and then that's it for this mission. But still, upgrades are very useful, so it's good to get these fairly early on, so that you don't have a unit that's sitting at like 79 out of 80 and can't upgrade, because it won't gain any more experience after that, unless you have the building built. And you have upgrade paths for all of your units here. And then you've also got other buildings, which has your guild, which is useful if you want to have a lot of thieves on the map. We're probably not going to build one very early on. A magic tower to research spells, which some spells are very useful, so it's good to have, but I won't get that till a little bit later. And a temple which will heal and revive units in your cities. But that does cost a fair bit of gold, so it's not extremely useful for me because I am playing as a warrior lord, and I've got that regeneration anyway per turn. But I probably will get one later on, because if a party takes a huge hit, I might need to revive or heal very quickly, and a temple is a good building to have anyway. So that's most of what you'll need to know. We'll go over some of the rest of the stuff in the next video. I'll see you guys next time.